They say walk in your truth and not in your shadows. They also tell you you're too much, making you feel like a burden, but they always want you to speak up for what isn't spoken. Unspoken truth, hiding behind an unspoken poet, unspoken stories, never get told by unspoken words. Yo, what's good? It's your girl Becky the Poet here. Welcome to the Unspoken Words podcast. You guys, this sounds like a very similar episode. Call your family members, your friends or family, and just tell them you love them, and just tell them you appreciate them, and make memories while you can. I don't think I'm done grieving. So this episode right here is the continuous phases of grieving. So, as you guys may have been watching on my Instagram, all I've been posting is just things about my cousin. 2 episodes ago, I literally talked about this very vaguely. And after the recording, I look at my team and was like, boom, I didn't cry. But you know, while setting this up, I have been like a little bit teary-eyed. It might just fall during this episode if you continue watching or listening. But I honestly am still going through the phases of grief. I don't even understand these phases. You know, you have the first one being shocked. You have the second one being in denial. The third one being angry. And then you have bargaining with your you and yourself are just saying that like, yeah, it's like, you know, I don't know. And then you got depression and you got acceptance, right? And I don't know. I think at a young age, I didn't understand grief. You know, the very first person I ever lost in my life was my grandpa. And as interesting enough, that's the first loss that hurt. Just because, like, I don't know, I didn't know what death was at a young age. And you know, when somebody is once here and then now they're gone, you're just like why? You know? And it's even more crazy because at the time, I was going to church very, very often. You see, like, my parents lived in different states. So whenever I would see my mom, she'll take me to church every Sunday, you know, and donut holes in the morning, chocolate milk, you know, that dress I didn't want to wear. And so when my grandpa passed, I questioned, like, he went to church. Why did God take him away? You know? I didn't know. No answers, you know? And then my great aunt, who, if you would have asked all my cousins, like, she was amazing. She made the best chocolate chip cookies, the best angel food, fruit cake, dessert. She used to work at Sample House, so she had all these recipes all in her head. She wrote them down in books. She had passed too. And that's the second death that I had went through, which is the second time I had to grieve. I don't even know if I actually accepted that very well. I think for a long time, even to this day, I still fall back into the stages of grief, because I remember that day, I was there the whole like 2-3 weeks. I was there for a very long time. And then that night, I decided to go with my cousins to their house in a whole different city. We were supposed to come back that night, you know? So we go home, shower, chill out. Supposed to come back that night. At that time, my ride at the time was tired and was like, we don't have to go anymore. It's okay, blah, blah, blah. And so we end up getting another ride. As we're getting in the car, calling my mom, telling her I'm on the way, for her to tell me, don't come, because she had already passed. I was still young, like, I remember being in second grade for my grandpa, and I remember maybe middle school for my aunt. I don't know. And when I finally moved to Texas, I went to go visit her gravesite every chance that I could get alone with my mom. I have pictures of memories on Facebook, like plenty of times, and I'm like, ugh, like, you know, as I got older, I had to stop going because I felt like I wasn't letting her go. Not even letting her go, like letting the thought of her gone go. So that kind of just made me stop going. You know, I've lost people along the way, like, you know, my uncle and a younger childhood friend of mine, and you know, it's a continuous thing. So I don't know, like recently I haven't like been okay. You know, I made big changes in my life. Big changes. I started over, you know? And a part of me doesn't know if I started over because I was grieving or it's because it was a change I needed, you know? And sometimes it's hard to get over this loss recently, just because I guess I have another regret of not being there for them, you know? Literally the day before I was scheduled to go see them, it happened the day before. Now, I made plenty of excuses not to go a couple of times. Didn't want to go through the hassle of getting another test, too far, work. All those things made me regret my decision to not go. So after the fact, you know, and I told myself every day that those video FaceTime calls was enough. I told myself it was enough. But it wasn't. So, you know, I feel like somewhere in that stage of grief right here, you have a slight addition of like guilt in between each like stage, you know, and you constantly go through it like continuously. You know, 1 minute I'm good, 1 minute I'm not. I had a bad night. You know, cried my heart out, threw it up in my lap, felt guilty for even getting that litty. And then, you know, to see it through somebody else, you know, it kind of makes you realize, like, damn, like, we're not taught to grieve, you know. And yeah, there's like therapy for this, but I think it's harder to like grieve without it, you know. If I didn't have the good support system, I wouldn't have made it this far, you know. And I'm semi-accepting of it, but I'm not okay with the, you know, acceptance. And there are things people don't tell you about grief, you know. One thing is like you're gonna continually feel it every now and then throughout your whole life. You may be triggered by something, you know, that reminds you about whoever it is. And you know, grief isn't just about losing somebody. It's all about also losing anything, you know? And there's not enough time in this world like for you to grieve, you know? It's not about staying strong. It's not about take your time. It's literally like there's no time frame. I don't know how long anybody can grieve. People can grieve for a very long time. You can be in a depression phase for a very long time. But, you know, 3 things I learned. You gotta keep moving. You gotta keep moving. Take all the time in the world to be alone. Don't even worry about having to socialize. The real ones understand. And 3, it's the shittiest thing in the world. But it's gonna be okay. I promise you it is. I'm not just talking to myself on this. I'm talking to whoever's watching this and grieving, going through shit. Like, it's gonna be okay. Eventually. On your own terms. Whenever you say it's okay. Remember that. So today, tomorrow, next month, next year, take as long as you need. Understand that life is too short. Live it to the fullest and be happy with every decision you make. Don't go to sleep regretting anything at all. Because right now is the time. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I know it was a random episode thrown into this season here. But I wanted to talk to y'all and I wanted y'all to just know what's been going on. And also at the same time, if you're going through it, you ain't the only one. You are not the only one. Becky the Poet, out.
If you haven't yet, please subscribe to my YouTube at Becky the Poet. And then follow me on Instagram, Becky the Poet, and the podcast, Unspoken Words Podcast. All right, you guys. Love ya.